Okay, so I'm here with Diva St. John, so I'd like to thank you very much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, so yeah, perfect. I suppose just to kind of get the ball rolling, can you just start by kind of generally kind of introducing yourself and telling us, I suppose, what you're all about?
Sure. I'm Deva St. John. I am based in Reading in the UK. I make sort of more like alternative music, inspired primarily by rock. But I like producing it in a quite, I don't know, I like using pop elements and sort of commercial methods. Yeah, really, I just love putting rock and tunes together.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So, I suppose can you give me a bit of a background as to what got you kind of started with music, and I suppose what really kind of got the ball rolling, I suppose, in terms of your career.
So I began writing music when I was actually 16, which is a long time ago now. But I never really got the, I guess, confidence to do anything about what I was writing until I was 23. So a couple of years ago, I released my first song, and it sort of came about because I went through sort of a bunch of health stuff and life stuff, and you sort of hit. I think we all kind of hit a wall in our life where you either sink or swim, and you have to kind of work out exactly how you're gonna recover from something or process something. And
Yeah.
for me, it was music, and finally, taking control of my narrative and putting my thoughts out there sort of made it easier. It was always like transferring the custody of what was in my brain to, I don't know, something that was better equipped at dealing with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I suppose what I forgot to mention, what I forgot to ask was, is there any kind of artists in particular you kind of look to for inspiration?
Yeah, God, loads. Well, I started singing largely when I was getting into Paramore.
Okay.
I think Hayley Williams is a, icon. I also really love the way 21 Pilots produce their stuff and structure their music. Though I'm more inspired, I guess, thematically or sonically by sort of pre-millennium alt rock. I really love what they were doing in the 90s. My favorite band is a band called Blind Melon.
Okay.
I sort of take little pieces of inspiration from everyone. I think my favorite vocalist is Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, and just like his showmanship, I love that, and I'm really inspired by it. Alanis Morissette, her songwriting and storytelling. Yeah, there's there's so many.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So yeah, I don't want to get too far away from the point here, but just for the sake of background, you're an actress. You've been in a lot of stuff over the years. Did that background kind of give you, I suppose, any when it comes to music? Did that background kind of help you at all when kind of getting started with music seriously, or do you think it's kind of a very different field?
I wouldn't say it's very different. I think, yeah, acting certainly helped me, at least with understanding how to perform, and especially how to put a music video together. I feel quite, I've spent a lot of years honing my skills in direction and production, and I've worn a lot of hats over the years. So yeah, acting certainly helps a lot. And if you are an actor, you typically have like an ingrained appreciation and understanding of storytelling and
Yeah.
conveyance of emotion, which are very important aspects to songwriting.
Okay, perfect. So then when it comes to, you mentioned music videos there, for example, were there any kind of, I suppose, technical hurdles or anything that were kind of difficult to overcome or anything like that?
Oh God, I mean, money.
Yeah.
The primary issue of any kind of creation on, a developmental level, yeah, it's money. Um, I I have so many ideas and I want to do everything. Like my DOP, who I usually work with, Dan, he's a director, but we've sort of worked together in a sort of partnership where I'll direct and he'll film it. And in a sense co-director. But anyway, we laugh because whenever I'm putting a music video together, like I always want to set something on fire. It's not yet happened because he's always the guy to be like, Skye, we don't have the budget. We don't have the health and safety team on board. We have my friend Amelia, who's the most incredible AD, I think, on the planet. But I really don't want to give her an aneurysm by bringing fire into the mix. But yeah, long story short, money, if you had all of the budget in the world, you could really do anything without limitations. I would, say that's probably the biggest hurdle.
Okay, and in terms then of, I suppose, promoting the music and getting it out there, I suppose from your kind of point of view, was it difficult to kind of, I suppose, maybe reach out to people? I don't know if you focused on radio stations, but is it difficult to kind of promote music and kind of get yourself out there to gigs and stuff like that, and I suppose distribute your music, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. I mean, it's not so difficult locally. I've got a really good relationship with the local scene and, our BBC reps. Everyone in the Reading area are so incredibly hardworking and we're like a family, I don't feel like it's difficult, at least locally. But as soon as you kind of try to bring the wider industry into the mix, it gets very difficult. And you'll get a bunch of emails from, scammers saying, oh, if you give me £1,000, I can put you in every magazine, everywhere. And, it is, at worst a scam and at best a giant waste of money. So it's really about just being clever with marketing. I suppose social media, though, I'm very bad with social media, and I shouldn't be. I know it's the day and age, but whenever I sort of reach for TikTok, I'm just not ever inspired to post anything on there. I love it. I love watching it, but social media would be the primary source of promo. But I just kind of do gigs, if I find them and if they'll have me, and email around, email friends, call in favors. I feel like that's what you do at this stage. You have to hustle.
It's funny you mentioned, actually. It's funny you mentioned the scam thing, because I was a bit worried. I was a bit worried when I first contacted you that I think you're the first non-Irish artist I've interviewed. I could be wrong though.
No way.
When I emailed you, I was a bit like, a random Gmail address. This is going to end up in junk or something, but I digress. I suppose you released your first EP recently. Can you tell me a little bit about that? I suppose what the process was in terms of kind of getting it together and how you kind of chose what songs to include and that sort of thing.
So Nauseous Ad Nauseam, I began writing it a couple of years ago now. And going back to the money issue, it was really just a case of gathering the funds to really do everything that I wanted to do for it, sonically, like in the production and recording process. And so I suppose it was inspired by primarily I've got cystic fibrosis, and over the past couple of years I've had a lot of health stuff come up, and thankfully I'm on the back end of it. But the medication I was taking, especially in the hospital, they sort of categorize it in the same realm as chemo because of how aggressive it is. And so I was nauseous, constantly nauseous. and couldn't eat, could barely sleep, and I just sort of found myself nauseated by everything, not just my body, but sort of looking out into the world at what was going on, and internally, like, sort of in my own head, just, you know, just this constant feeling of like impending dread, and so that kind of inspired the title, and I kind of wrote the music. I didn't want it to write a depressing EP, but the roots of the songs came from a dark place, and while I wrote them, I tried kind of flipping it midway, and I always like to write with a sort of undertone of hope, and fire, and I want the music to be encouraging, and like it's nice to sympathize, and it's important to sort of be in your feelings, sort of why my song The Curse is what it is. But I wanted to write Poser as like a bratty kind of, like, can I swear?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's just like a bratty kind of like fuck you to the music industry, and particularly the sort of glorification of toxic traits in people, and pity party and die. They're more about personal sort of mental health stuff, but again, like with that undertone of, no, it's all right, it'll be fine.
So no, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, to make a long story short, thematically, I guess Nauseous Ad Nauseam is an EP about light and dark.
Okay.
And I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's a lot. So I suppose, and what was I going to say? So I suppose, and not to make light of it, of course. I'm very sorry to hear about your difficulties there in terms of health. But I suppose would you kind of describe kind of from a music point of view, kind of taking maybe a difficult situation and kind of making something, I suppose, more productive or kind of lighthearted, for lack of better words, out of it?
Oh yeah, for sure. You gotta, otherwise you just want to have the world swallow you whole.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was good and healthy, to turn it into something, like you say, useful. And, productive.
Okay. So yeah, kind of moving forward then. Have you had any time to think about what's next?
Not really. I mean, I've got a bunch of songs in the bank because I'm actually studying right now. I'm doing a production and engineering course at Abbey Road. So I've not really been thinking too hard on the career front, but knowing that I would be sort of going into a little cave and honing skills for a year, I prepared a bunch of songs to release. So there is going to be more stuff coming out. I do have gigs coming up as well. Though again, like this year, every gig's gonna count because I'll probably be gigging far less than I ordinarily do. So, yes and no. Okay, yeah. So I suppose we're kind of just about out of time now. But I suppose before we finish up, is there anything else you'd like to share? Not particularly. Just thank you so much for having me on your show, and I really hope you've been enjoying the EP.
Thanks very much. And I suppose if people want to kind of follow you online, can you tell us your socials?
Sure thing, yeah. I'm just Deva St. John everywhere. DevaStJohn.
Okay, perfect. So again, this has been Deva St. John. I'd like to thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Perfect. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.